First time flying on Southwest with the assigned seating. Let's see how it goes.
You can check in starting 24 hours before your flight, and I did that and saw that I am in boarding group 3 in seat 19F, a window seat. I'll talk later in the video about boarding groups and about seat assignments. This was the first week of assigned seating on Southwest, and I really loved how festive it was at the airport and all the different decorations that were saying welcome to assigned seating. One thing I noticed right away is that the old stands that used to be up in the airport with the numbers to line up are now gone. So that's a big change at the Southwest gates at the airport for sure. Southwest now boards in groups 1 through 8. So at this particular airport, they had screens up indicating which groups were boarding. And I thought that was very helpful because you could clearly see on the screen who was going to board. I did realize on another flight that all airports do not have screens like this, and I'll show you that later in the video. So here you can see groups 1 and 2 are getting ready to board, and then the screens will change when it's time for the next boarding group to board. This is another gate, same airport, and the screens at this airport were really helpful. You can clearly see here that group 4 of 8 is boarding. This is a different airport and things are done differently here. You'll see they have signs up. Odd boarding groups are on the left and even numbered boarding groups are on the right. I definitely prefer the screens that change as you board. It makes it much easier to know which group is boarding, especially if you're catching a connecting flight and you were to walk up on this, you may not know which group is boarding. So the screens at the other airport were much more helpful, and I definitely prefer that.
Another change you'll see at the Southwest gates is this stand that indicates pre-boarders and active military or priority boarders. So we have boarding groups 1 through 8. However, before boarding groups 1 through 8 board, pre-boarders will board, and then active military or anyone who purchased priority boarding. It becomes available for purchase 24 hours before flights, but not all flights. Not all flights will give you the option to purchase priority boarding. Since this was my first Southwest flight with assigned seating, I wanted to give priority boarding a try. On one flight, I was able to purchase it for $15, but on another, I got this error message letting me know priority boarding was not an option. Let's go get on the plane and see where our assigned seat is. When you get on the plane, you'll see that there's 3 seats in each row. A, B, and C on this side. A is next to the window, B is in the middle, C is in the aisle. On the other side, we have D, E, and F. D is an aisle seat, E is a middle seat, and F is a window seat. Please also note that the rows get higher as you head toward the back of the airplane. I'm all settled in seat 16F, which is a window seat. As I said, seat F and then seat A on the other side are window seats. I'm going to enjoy this snack before I reach my destination.
Next, I'm going to talk about the different fares that are available on Southwest and how that will impact your boarding group. As I said before, Southwest now has boarding groups 1 through 8. So we have 4 fares now on Southwest. The first one is the basic fare. So this is the most economical. So think of this as the old want to get away fare on Southwest. When you book a basic fare ticket, you do not choose your seat at the time of booking. What's going to happen is 24 hours before you fly, you can check into the app into your flight. And then Southwest is going to assign you a seat. Most likely it's going to be a standard seat. So either on the app when you check in or at the gate, Southwest will be assigning you a seat with a basic fare. You may have an option to pick an upgraded seat for an extra charge, but generally speaking, a basic fare will be a standard seat and will be assigned to you. You will also be in the last boarding group. So most likely you'll be in the last boarding group. If the plane isn't very full, maybe you won't be. However, when you look at the Southwest website, it does state that basic fares will be in the last boarding group. After the basic fare, the second fare that we have with Southwest is the choice fare. So this is a second type of fare. And this is what I booked when I flew for the first time with assigned seating. So with the choice fare, you do get to choose a standard seat when you go and book your ticket. So not a seat with extra legroom, not a premium seat toward the front of the plane, but you do get to choose a standard seat. You can also choose an seat upgrade if they're available as well. For, of course, you're going to pay, more for that. As far as boarding goes, with a choice fare, you will be in general boarding. I was surprised because when I checked in for my flight, I was put into boarding group 3. So that was a surprise because I was not expecting that with a choice fare. So our second fare is the choice fare. You can have your choice of a standard seat at the time of booking your ticket. Okay, on to our third type of fare. After the choice fare, we have the choice preferred fare. So this is the third type of fare. And with this type of ticket, when you go to book your flight, you do get to choose either you can take any standard seat that's available or a preferred seat. So this does not include the extra legroom seats. You may be able to choose one of those for an extra cost, but with the choice preferred, you will have an option to choose any standard seat or any preferred seat that is available. And Southwest states with the choice preferred that you will be in boarding group 3 to 5. So that is our third option for fares, the choice preferred. Our fourth fare type is the choice extra. So this is a premium fare. When you purchase choice extra, you have your choice of any seat on the plane that is available. So if you have chosen to purchase choice extra, most likely you are going to look for something at the front of the plane that has extra legroom. Along with that, with the choice extra, you will be in boarding group 1 or 2. So like I said, that is really a premium type of a fare. So those are the 4 fare types when you purchase your ticket that you will have to choose from. I did want to mention, if you are a Chase Southwest card holder, so not just any Chase, but if you hold the Southwest credit card, and there's different types of cards, but for all Chase Southwest credit card holders, you will always be in a boarding group before boarding group 6. So you will board no later than boarding group 5. So that is, I'm talking of with the Southwest Chase cards across the board. Some of them have other advantages, but I'm just going to say, generally speaking, if you are a Chase Southwest credit card holder, you will board no later than boarding group number 5. I also want to mention a little bit about our Rapids Reward membership tiers. So those of you who have gotten a lot of points on Southwest, you've flown a ton of flights, you probably already know this information by now, but our A-list Rapid Reward membership tier people will be boarding in boarding group before 6. So they will board no later than group 5. And when you go to book your ticket, if you are an A-list member, you can select any preferred or standard seat that is available. So let's go on to the next Rapid Rewards membership tier. So this is going to be the A-list preferred people. So you are flying a lot on Southwest. Like I said, you probably already know all this information by now. You have flown Southwest much more than I have. You can select any seat at booking. So go get those extra legroom seats if this is you. And then your boarding group will be no later than boarding group number 2. I did mention earlier that on some flights, no matter what tier that you've chosen, Southwest may offer you the opportunity to purchase priority boarding starting 24 hours ahead of your flight for various prices. So that may be another option if you wanted to try to board earlier. And then, of course, we have our pre-boarders and our active military who will be boarding before the boarding groups. So you would have your pre-boarders, your active military, and priority boarding people if they were available, priority boarding was available to purchase. And then you're going to start going through boarding groups 1 through 8. So those are our tiers, a little bit about how that process is going to work as far as which boarding group that you get assigned to. I want to just talk a little bit about my experience on the assigned seating. I loved it. I thought it was great. I knew exactly where my seat was when I was getting on the plane. I wasn't trying to shove my carry-on into an overhead bin, very much aware of like the space limitations. So it made it easy for me. So I really liked the assigned seating. I have to give a shout out to all the staff of Southwest because I was on there the first week of this assigned seating. So you can imagine it's stressful for the staff. People don't like change. Everybody's getting used to this whole new process. But all the staff on Southwest were just wonderful. So I'm liking this boarding. If you fly other airlines, you're very familiar with how the boarding process works on other airlines. Nobody has had open boarding like Southwest had, so you will know the process. But I'm happy with it. I actually already booked my next flight. I'll be taking soon on Southwest. And again, I did my choice boarding fare, so the number 2. So I was able to pick a standard seat, and I'm really looking forward to that flight. If you have flown Southwest with assigned seating, or just in general, if you have any comments or if you have any questions, please leave them below. I would love to be able to share information with more people. So if you have any questions or concerns about the assigned seating, about just flying in general, please leave your comments below. I try to address every single comment that is left. So I really appreciate that. But there we have it, assigned seating on Southwest Airlines.